Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from relationship advice. Our first post is by Throwaway. I, 43F, just had sex for the first time. How do I tell my husband, 44M, that I want to end our marriage? I have suffered from what my church terms same-sex attraction my whole life. My husband has been my best friend for 30 years, married for 25. He has felt asexual since as long as he can remember. Our relationship has been one of absolute loving, cuddly but celibate best friends, and while unusual has been satisfying and worked for us. This weekend I attended my 25th high school reunion, about 4 hours from where we live. I stayed with Eve, my best female friend from back then. I'm not going into details here, frankly I haven't even processed it all yet. We made love several times. I had my first ever orgasms, I felt desired, I felt authentic, real and alive. Neither Eve nor I planned or expected this. I'm shedding a lot of self-deception, determined to actually live my life now. I'm ready to lose some friends and family, and being unwelcome at my church. But the thing is, my best friend slash husband slash confidant is totally innocent in all this. And for 2 days I haven't slept much, etc. And he's sensing something is weighing on my heart. How on earth do I ask to just switch him to best friend? This sucks. Thanks for listening or any advice. Update. Thank you all for taking the time to give me much to consider. Amidst the deluge of hate and name-calling, there's been a lot of empathy, encouragement, and thoughtful advice. Thank you so much. Many of you were correct in assumptions about me and our marriage. So here's a bit more detail. I was trying yesterday not to make my post too long. Yes, our marriage was very much to avoid the overwhelming stigma in our raised-in faith that goes with staying single, wanting to be child-free, being gay, etc. We both had and do have great affection for each other. But we're not self-aware enough to figure that the social pressure was the reason for our young marriage, and be honest about it to one another until several years in. We've been comfortable about us in an open, privately of course, and honest way. We joke that we are like secret agents with our own cover story. Our main one being that I am, sadly, infertile. I prayed every day since I was a teen for God to take away my same-sex attraction, and then would pray for forgiveness for being angry at God that it didn't happen. My husband, in whom I confided about my struggle long before we married, has prayed beside me in this countless times, but has always been adamant that he prays for my heart to be at peace about the matter, not for me to change. That has always been incredibly meaningful to me, and I've always let him know it. Praying, for both of us, has increasingly lessened for several years now. Our church attendance is mostly pro forma now. When I'm there now, I find myself looking around and wondering how many others are also there, just to be there. No, my husband isn't gay. He's funny, kind, always helping others, the real deal of a man. He's just completely asexual, and about a 9 out of 10 aromantic also. No one could ever have a better friend. We've discussed in the last few years, he has brought it up, that perhaps I should have physical relationships with other women to be happy, but I'd always shut that down. Very late last night he told me he knew something was really bothering me, that he had a feeling he knew what it was, and that we are going to talk about it tonight, and then he held me for what seemed forever. Our next post is by Chakrahan. I, F30, met my boyfriend's M27 other girlfriend at the hospital. Had no idea she existed before today. My boyfriend was involved in an accident last night. Only got to know about it a few hours later, and he was sketchy about the hospital he was in. Fortunately or unfortunately, we stay in a small town, so I quickly figured out where he was. Went to see him at the hospital. He was inside with his brothers and friends. There was a girl sitting outside his room who kept measuring me up. Boyfriend was about to be transferred to another hospital for surgery, and as we were walking out, the girl made a point to introduce herself. Out of shock, I just said I'm his friend, but I could see she suspected. She got into the car with the brothers and they followed the ambulance. I just drove home. Didn't talk to the boyfriend as he was unconscious when they wheeled him out, thinking of just blocking him on everything, but I also feel bad should I not check up on him after surgery. I'm just heartbroken and confused. What would you guys do? Update 1. So I texted the guy. He hasn't read it yet. The text summarized said, I met X. I won't be coming to the hospital as you obviously won't need me. Your girlfriend will be there for you. And a bit more about the lies. Then I blocked him. I don't know if there will be any update after this, as I don't see where the story can possibly go. A quick search on the internet about his injuries showed he will be recovering for the next 4 to 6 months as he has a broken femur. Thank you all for the advice. Our next post is by Throwaway. My 28F husband, 49M, lost his best friend, 50M, from high school because he crossed a line with me, and now I can't stop feeling bad because I shouldn't have said anything. 2 weeks ago my husband's friend had a horrible fight with his wife and she kicked him out of their house. So my husband and I decided to welcome him into our house. Well, he was living with us for a few days, and at first everything was normal, but then he started making me uncomfortable like never before. He started invading my personal space or brushing against me when he passed by and things like that. And I refused to believe that he would do something like that after so many years of friendship. So I kept quiet and never said anything to him, but apparently that encouraged him more because he didn't stop. One day I was in the kitchen and my husband was upstairs taking a shower, and he said he wanted to help me, but all he did was get behind me with the excuse of taking something from the cupboard to rub himself against me. And that made me feel very disgusted, so that day I talked to my husband, and fortunately he believed me, and confronted him immediately, and he flatly denied it and said that I was lying, that he should put me in my place, and my husband hit him, and it all ended in a horrible physical fight that could only be stopped by calling my brother-in-law who lives a block from our house. Since then my husband and him have not spoken again, and I doubt they will because my husband is really mad at him. And I can't stop feeling bad. What if I imagined it all? I mean, we have a 3-month-old and we haven't been sleeping much, and it is possible to have hallucinations when you do not rest well. They have been friends since they were in high school. It is his longest friendship and it was destroyed in seconds because of me. I should have confronted him alone to avoid this. My husband thinks that it's not like that the right thing to do was to tell him, and that it's not my fault, but I feel that it is. One of their friends that they have in common took his friend's side and stopped talking to my husband too, and the worst thing is that everyone blames me because they think that I brainwashed him and turned him into someone unrecognizable, and for some reason I let those words affect me, and I don't know how to stop thinking like that. My husband has supported me a lot, but I still feel bad. Is this a normal feeling? Will it go away with time? Our next post is by Peachy Cat Jess. I, 26F, traveled to Japan with my boyfriend's 28M mom, 58F, and it became a nightmare. Should I break up with him? I, 26, went on a 12-day Japan trip with my boyfriend 28 and his mom 58. We've been together for less than 2 years. I already told my boyfriend from the beginning that I wasn't comfortable traveling with his mom, as she has a strong attitude and I knew we would clash. He bought my ticket anyways and told me he wanted me to experience Japan as well, and that his mom would most likely do her own thing. This was my first out-of-the-country trip, and it was also going to be my birthday. When we get on our bus to our hotel, it's common manners to be quiet and no one was talking. When we ask her to politely lower her voice, she's like, "Why do I have to follow the rules, so what?" This irritated me, as this isn't our country and we should be respectful. We go to a fancy mall where my boyfriend and I have no interest in anything here, since we couldn't afford it. So we tell her to take her time looking around and shop for whatever she wants. So we leave her, but we're in the same vicinity, and my back's killing me due to all the standing and walking we've done. So we go to a cafe and buy a small peach juice, need to buy food to sit down. She sees we're at the cafe and gets mad that we didn't ask her if she wanted anything when we were only there to sit down. So she storms off and goes back to the hotel on her own. At this point, I don't talk to her anymore unless she talks to me. I leave her alone and let her talk to her son and give them space whenever I can. I finished cleaning my laundry in the bathroom and lay down on my bed. Out of nowhere, she starts screaming in Tagalog. Turns out my boyfriend let her know that his luggage space won't be able to fit her stuff, and that she needs to be careful of how much she buys so that it'll all fit. Mind you, we all have our own carry-on and large check-in bag because we all wanted to buy stuff in Japan. She goes off on him and tells him he's going to have bad karma, but it's literally his own luggage, and she could buy more luggage or ship it off if she needs to. I felt bad because my boyfriend started buying less, and I offered to put his stuff in mine as well. She also said that we've been selfish for not going where she wants to go. Except we've been going to the second-hand stores she wants, and I always ask my boyfriend if they want to leave me while I go shopping or have their own time together, to do whatever they want. Also the fact that we didn't go to Universal, but we planned this trip 3 months in advance with a whole itinerary, and let her know we were doing Disney Sea over Universal. The screaming was just so unnecessary, and this is where she continues to act like a child for the rest of the trip, where she'll just take off with no communication, huffs at us, mutters stuff under her breath. I found out that she usually travels with my boyfriend, her other son, and her husband. My boyfriend has told me that he places his mom first before me. He does treat me like a princess, carrying my bags, going where I want if I ask, doing all the navigation. So I see where she's used to being the main princess, and with me around she didn't get her usual treatment, so she ended up throwing a fit. As people are getting seated in the airplane, she gets in my face in front of everyone, angrily points at me and says that if I want my boyfriend I can have him, that it's a competition between me and her for her son, that I've been hogging him this whole trip. I don't say anything back because I'm literally in shock and I don't want to rile her up more. I broke down crying the whole 5 hours back to LAX. My boyfriend didn't defend me, didn't comfort me. I was supposed to go back home with him, but I'm so thankful that my friend was able to come pick me up instead because she was still mad after the plane ride. I wasn't able to fully enjoy my Japan trip as I was always walking on eggshells and didn't get to celebrate my birthday. Should I break up with my boyfriend because of his mom? Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.